Hello, Gold participants and listeners from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC for Gold Learning. And here at Gold, we meet with our speakers and chat a little bit. And we have a little podcast series going. We have been doing this for a while. And back again with me today is the wonderful Heather Thompson. Hello, Heather. Welcome back.
Hello, Kristen. It's great to be back. Thank you.
It is wonderful to have you here. It is a real treat. I'm so looking forward to the presentation you will have in store for us this time in our Gold Perinatal Online Conference of 2019. And I know you have been busy. You're a very busy lady. So first of all, for our new listeners here who have not met you before, tell us, number one, where in the world are you located? And then tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and your professional journey as well.
Sure. So I am born and raised here in Colorado in the United States. I left for about 20 years and lived on the East Coast, but now I'm back in Denver, Colorado. And I'm trained as a scientist. I have a master's in biochemistry and a PhD in molecular and cellular biology. And I taught at the college level for a little while. I taught a lot of mammalian physiology and thought about how mammals move through the world. And I did some basic research. I was a project manager out at our Clinical Health Sciences Center here in Denver. And then I had babies. And I found that my interests were shifting, and I really wanted to apply some of my mammalian biology perspective to how humans give birth and humans keep their babies alive. So I was raising my own and really started to get more deeply involved in the birth world. I've been a postpartum doula for 16 years, and I worked at a birth center for almost a decade, 7 of those years as the research director. Now I am the deputy director at Elephant Circle. We're a birth justice organization. I've been here since 2014, and it's a really wonderful combination of getting to use all my skills. I get to apply my clinical science background to my ability to think through projects and read scientific papers and advocate for consumers who are seeking out of hospital birth or finding themselves needing some support in any part of the perinatal period.
You have such an amazing background. I just absolutely love it. Yeah, scientist. Yeah, and you had your own babies. You did research. You taught, and then everything shifted, and that's where you are now. And I love it how you describe how you can use all your skills and your experiences and bring that together. Heather, tell us about the Elephant Circles. It is wonderful. I've heard about it, and I think it's so important to share. So tell us what the Elephant Circle does, what you do there, and yeah, let us know what's the Elephant Circle and why is it called Elephant Circle?
Yeah, so we are a birth justice organization, which for us means that we work on issues from preconception to 2 years postpartum, so the extent of the perinatal period. And we are named after how elephants give birth in the wild. When an elephant is in labor, the entire herd surrounds them in protection and defense and support. And that's really how we envision the best support during the perinatal period to be. One rooted in community, one that provides both support and protection and defense. And we really look to support people in their own community and then be able to step away and let them do what they do best. So we apply that perspective to a variety of issues, including supporting out-of-hospital midwifery, whether that be in birth centers or home birth. We've been pretty deeply involved in the conversation about perinatal cannabis use here in Colorado, since we have both recreational and medical marijuana is legal here. And we also have a lot of conversations about the role of racism in the racial inequities that we see in this country. Right now, Black women and Indigenous women and their babies die between 2 and 4 times more often than their non-Hispanic white counterparts. And that's a direct result of racism. It's a legacy of slavery. And it's part of the conversation we're really trying to help move the needle in the midwifery and maternity care worlds in general.
Absolutely wonderful. It's so great to see this wonderful work you're doing and your organization too, and you tackle so many important, issues there, from racial disparities to being out there in the community supporting birth choices. And I love the image that that you brought on about the elephant surrounding and protecting the mom and the baby. It's just wonderful. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You bet.
So now let's talk about your presentation. I like the title. It's called More Than Mere Milk, The Complexities of Feeding Human Milk to Human Babies. And I see the researcher is coming through there in you, right?
Yeah, I know it's a long-winded title now that I see it all written out,
It's
but it
great.
says
I love
exactly what it's
it.
to talk about. So I was being specific, I guess. Yeah, so this talk really is bringing together all my experiences. It's really, I wouldn't say the culmination because I wouldn't say I'm at the end of the journey, but it's really a look back at all of the things that I've learned about breastfeeding and how my journey, like many people's journey, starts in the biology, and it seems like a natural thing. Mammals can feed mammalian babies, and it should be fairly straightforward, to the realities of that's not usually how it works for most folks. And I had my two babies and our own nursing challenges, to my watching other families and supporting them in their home through their own nursing journeys and decisions and celebrations and heartaches. And then as I've been exposed to more of the work that I do at Elephant Circle, I've come to really appreciate how the intersections in our lives affect our ability to feed human babies human milk. And there's a lot of intersections that we make folks personally responsible for, and I would love for us to take more of a cultural, societal perspective. And I'm thinking along the lines of, what if an incarcerated woman wants to feed her baby? What does it look like if someone who uses substances during pregnancy wants to nurse their baby? What if somebody is trans or queer or non-binary and wants to navigate what it looks like to use their body in a way that might feel really intense for them? What does it look like for single parents? What does it look like for folks on WIC or Medicaid? And what are our cultural elements? What do our various cultures around the world have varying messages and narratives about what breastfeeding success even looks like and how you navigate a breastfeeding journey? So I just want to do a dive into the mess of the complexity and then offer us a really cool tool called complex adaptive systems, which basically is a way to sort through really complex systems that have intersecting elements that work together and apart, but all lead to a single end result, so that we can start to think through more than just the biology or the access to a pump or formula as a piece of the puzzle when we're supporting lactating folks.
That sounds absolutely fascinating. And you brought up there the complexities. It can feel overwhelming. You brought up all these issues, and each issue could, of course, has warranted a lot of research for each topic for themselves. And you mentioned all the issues, and I love how you put it together that there will be like some kind of tool that we can use to navigate and understand
Yes.
better. That is absolutely amazing. And because when I was listening to you, and I'm thinking, how is she going to do that in 1 hour?
Well,
Now
this is
I'm
the
really
challenge,
intrigued.
right? I mean, I'm hoping to provide a slightly different approach than what we typically use in allopathic medicine specifically, which is really a reduce and resolve. Like if
Right.
we can break this into its parts and separate it out. And that's my natural instinct as a molecular biologist. That's what I'm interested in. Get it down to the molecules and then put it back together better. But I think with something like this that is not just biologic, not just cultural, not just beliefs or access or what happened in your birth, all of those things are working together, we need a different perspective. How do we actually evaluate a system as a system that's complex and be able to nudge the different pieces? And one of the elements I love about complex adaptive systems is that it really believes the people who are in the middle of the system. So it really puts the parents and the baby as the drivers of what the next step should be, which I also really think is a more interesting perspective than sometimes we see in allopathic medicine, where we want to fix the problem from the outside. Really engendering a family to figure out how to raise solutions from the inside, I'm hoping gives us a new way to talk about folks having breastfeeding difficulties.
When I listen to you, I mean, I can hear your passion. I mean, it just comes out in your voice and when you talk about this. But I also get, and this is really, really wonderful, the message of hope here, right? I mean, listening to you, it sounds like, okay, oh, we have all these complex and very difficult issues, but there is a way we can work with this, right?
Yep. I think there is. That's what I'm going to endeavor to do in my 60 minutes with you folks.
Oh, wonderful. That's absolutely amazing. Can't wait for that. Before I let you go, what little wisdom, nugget of wisdom can you share here with us before just a little something?
A little nugget of wisdom.
Yes, a nugget of wisdom by Heather Thompson, Dr. Heather Thompson. You have probably so many, but like if you were forced to pick one, just for this purpose of this little chat here, would you pick? Or maybe two if you have a hard time picking or choosing.
Well, I was just this morning chatting with a reporter about the issue of cannabis use during pregnancy and how that can impact birth and breastfeeding
Yeah.
and the legal implications and policy implications. And one of the things that I found myself saying there was that I talk to folks a lot who want us to treat cannabis like alcohol or cigarettes or even opiates. But those substances are more enculturated in our world right now, and I found myself saying that there is indeed an additional standard for cannabis. There's a higher standard for parents who use cannabis than parents who use other substances, and that parents just need to know going into it that they need to meet that standard. Being upset about it, complaining about it, being frustrated by it are all reasonable responses. And the reality is you just need to know that standard and rise to it.
Interesting. That is something, it's always amazing talking to you. I always learn something new. I feel like I always pick up something new. And you always give us like some food for thought that we might dive back in and in a quiet moment going like, huh, that sounded really intriguing and interesting. I'm gonna think about that, follow up and do my own research and come back to that and grow from it and learn from it. Well, Dr. Heather Thompson, it was absolutely wonderful chatting with you as usual. Thank you so much for being here today with me.
My absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot.
And now this is for our listeners, the presentation More Than Mere Milk, the Complexities of Feeding Human Milk to Human Babies is part of the Gold Online Perinatal Conference of 2019. And we will be live in October. And is that October 7th here? Let me just check on that. But to our listeners, you can find out more on the Gold Perinatal online website. Just go to goldperinatal.com and you will find 14 sessions there, all in the field of perinatal. Fantastic online education for you. We also have an opening and closing keynotes. Those are all open access and you can sign up for that. So go to the website, check it out, and we hope to see you all there. That's it from here today. Bye bye for now.